The article by Hirschkorn and Gielen suggests that there is a disparity between educational research and educational practice. They claim that this research-practice gap creates a problematic relationship between the two practices. I agree with their notion that there is a gap between educational research and educational practice. However, I do believe that this gap can be bridged through a better understanding between the two. The article makes a lot of suggestions that educational researchers, like most researchers, look at a very isolated setting that have very little relation to actual classroom practice. They also suggest that teachers fail to implement a number of research findings based on their lack of access and lack of understanding of the research goals. While I agree that these problems do exist, I also feel that both sides need to examine their own goals and realize that there is no perfect solution for bridging the gap between the two. As a classroom teacher, I understand the importance of and value academic research. I realize that the research will probably not translate directly into my own classroom, yet there is usually a few takeaway points that I can utilize to strengthen my lessons. I like to compare the gap between research and practice to a board game analogy. Let's take Monopoly, for example. The designers of Monopoly had very clear goals and expectations when creating the game. They made rules and limitations that coerced the players into playing the game in the exact way that was intended. However, how many people actually play Monopoly 100% by the rules? Most people take the base rules into their own play sessions, but often make changes based on what works best for them, such as allowing people to buy back into the game or changing the way the free parking works. The designers of the game created the best possible system they could within their own testing, but the simple truth is that the game works best for players when the players make it their own. Much like the Monopoly analogy, classroom teachers must take educational research and utilize it in a way that makes it their own. By taking the research and applying bits and pieces to their own classrooms where they find it most applicable, practitioners can help bridge this research gap. Additionally, researchers must not feel betrayed or underutilized if their research is not used perfectly as intended. Like the article suggests, researchers need to help provide teachers a base for implementing their findings and possible suggestions for classroom teachers based on the research. While I do not believe the research gap can ever be completely dissolved, I do think that both sides can make steps in understanding the other side to ultimately create a better educational system for our youth.